Yo, what's going on everybody? This is Marcus and we are back with another episode of Mark Us on Top. We will still be using Yuree's team. Once again, if you haven't checked out the previous episode, I will leave the blog post he made on Nugget Bridge about this team with all the movesets, all the respreads and some strategic aspects down in the description. So yeah, definitely check that out. Also give him a follow on Twitter. So, our first opponent of the day is a player from Japan with a rating of 1804. And yeah, in the last episode, the first game went pretty well, but the second game not so much because of that Smeargle. And yeah, once again our opponent has a Smeargle up his sleeve right here. So yeah, definitely have to consider how to counter that since our Thundurus does not have Taunt, for example. But yeah, we still have some ways to deal with it, most notably, of course, Kangaskhan with, yeah, like Return can just, or Double Edge respectively, can just KO it through Focus Sash. But let's see, so our opponent is rocking double Fairy types right there, so I'm not sure if Yveltal would be the cleverest choice, so I think that we're actually going to bench it for this one. Yveltal is definitely a very interesting Mega, or not Mega, restricted Mon, and I liked it a lot in like the first couple of days of the new format. But yeah, since Xerneas is so big in usage, it's just hard to like justify having an Yveltal, I think. Though Yuree definitely made it work as he won that regional. So I do think Scizor could be kind of good here, and I actually do think we want to lead off with it right here. And I also think we want to have Kangaskhan, and then we bring Groudon and let's bring Thundurus in the bag as well. So the reasoning why I'm leading with Scizor next to Kangaskhan right there is because if my opponent opts to lead off with his Smeargle, we could just go for a feint with Scizor to break a potential Focus Sash and Spiky Shield, and then knock him out with Kangaskhan's Low Kick, for example. Though, yeah, if it's like a Choice Scarf Smeargle, then that would be pretty bad, but let's see. Also, of course, Scizor plus Kangaskhan is pretty good against potential Smeargle plus Xerneas lead. But yeah, looks like my opponent has made sure not to, like, I don't know, fall into our trap as he leads off with Salamence, and that is definitely going to give him the advantage in this matchup probably. Since, yeah, Intimidate, lowering both our Scizor and Kangaskhan's attack by one stage. And yeah, now I really wish that I led with Thundurus, because yeah, Thundurus and Scizor was also something I considered, but yeah, I don't know, in the end I was a little bit afraid of the potential, like, Kyogre lead coming out, so yeah. Now, we can still go for that Iron Head, which I'm sure my opponent will probably not expect, as most Scizors will just have Bullet Punch as a damage option against Xerneas. So, I don't know, I think we will just go for a Fake Out onto the Salamence and Iron Head. Now, I could have made a switch into Thundurus right here, predicting him to protect something from that Fake Out, but my opponent actually makes a pretty clever switch here into Ferrothorn, which is the slot that I will Fake Out, so we will take some recoil / Iron Barbs damage on our Kangaskhan. But he does not go for the protecting Xerneas, so we will get off that Iron Head, and yeah, as you can see, Fake Out really not doing anything at all. And no Rocky Helmet though, since, yeah, Kangaskhan is still pretty important in this meta, but it's more important to, I don't know, like, have different items such as Lumber available to you, or Leftovers to ensure that Ferrothorn can, between Leech Seed recovery and Leftovers, at least take, like, 2 hits from attacks that it resists. As for example, like, even Kyogre's Water Spout does just so much damage. So my opponent went for the Geomancy right here, and let's see how much this Iron Head will do. That's actually a pretty nice amount. Yeah, we also do have an item that boosts Steel-type attacks by 20%. I'm not entirely sure what it's called, I think Metal Coat. So yeah, he has leftovers on that Ferrothorn. And now the question is, does my opponent just go for the obvious play and protect Xerneas and switch back into Salamence for another round of Intimidate, or does he just attack? I don't know. Because what we could do here, though, even at -2, I do think Bullet Punch will probably KO the Xerneas. So yeah, I think we will just low kick, even though I'm pretty sure my opponent would switch out into their Salamence, and I think that is what they're going to do. But I didn't want to take any risks there, as I do believe that Bullet Punch, even at -2, should still be enough to knock out the Xerneas right there. So yeah, we will go for the low kick, and he actually doesn't even protect. Okay, so going for the Bullet Punch was a good play right there. I also considered going for like a feint and double edge, predicting that, but as you could just see, just going for the Bullet Punch was the safest play, and we do get lucky here with a critical hit on the Salamence. That definitely helps out, as with that, yeah, low kick even does a little bit of damage despite being at -2 and Salamence being a flying type, so resisting that. Actually not sure how fat Salamence is. Maybe that's like 80 or even 100 base power. But so, okay, we got rid of the Xerneas, which is certainly pretty nice, but now we still have to deal with that Ferrothorn and that Salamence, of course, and I'm expecting my opponent to have their Kyogre in the back. So, what this Scizor cannot do is touch Ferrothorn at all. You have Double Steel and Feint. So, I could just switch into Thundurus, I guess. But yeah, we're -2. Though, you know what? I think we're actually going... Do we feint? Yeah, I think we're actually going to feint and double edge into that Salamence to get rid of it. Because if we can take out the Salamence, then we should just be able to win this game with Groudon alone, implying that my opponent's last one is that Kyogre. And I could see him go for Protect right there, but yeah, he doesn't have to go for it. But that means that now it will be a speed tie between Kangaskhan and Salamence about who's going to go first, and we're actually winning the speed tie, so we will hit him with that double edge, and now let's see what he goes for. He goes for the Hyper Voice, but now that should mean that we can just take him out next turn with our Thundurus. Yeah, he takes out our Kangaskhan with Gyro Ball and Hyper Voice, but that is just completely fine, because now I can go into Thundurus and feint Thunderbolt the Salamence potentially. Though he could also just knock out our Scizor. So yeah, maybe maybe going for an attack and predicting him not to protect would have been the better play. But there was also the potential of like yeah, there was the potential of the protect coming out. But maybe it would have been the play to just, I don't know, Iron Head him. Because right now he could go for the protect, or he could just also fear the feint coming out, but I'm not entirely sure if Bullet Punch would be enough to knock out the Salamence since we're at -2. But I do think that we can just go for protect on our Scizor and Thunderbolt into the Salamence. Because, okay, yeah, he goes for the protect. Good play on my opponent's end. If we went for the feint, that would have been the win right there, but I, yeah, went for the T-Bolt. But let's see what that Ferrothorn is going to do. We'll go for the Leech Seed into the Scizor, so that is just fine. Because that should mean... I'm not sure if Bullet Punch will be enough, once again. He's most likely going for Hyper Voice, probably. But I don't want to switch in my Groudon just yet. Because once again his Kyogre is probably waiting in the back. So if we go for the Bullet Punch and he knocks us out, that would be really bad. Yeah, I will protect Thundurus here, I think. So our Focus Sash will stay intact, and so that we don't take any additional damage. And let's just hope that Bullet Punch is enough to knock out Salamence. But let's see here, it'll be close definitely. But yeah, that's enough. Maybe I also underestimated that Scizor. But since his Salamence is down right now, there was no chance for his Ferrothorn to KO our Scizor. And his last mon will be that Kyogre, but we do have our Groudon in the back, so right now I will just go for a feint and Thunderbolt into that Kyogre to make sure that we get off as much damage as possible, and then in the back our Groudon should seal up this game. Yeah, that was a pretty nice game, I think. Ironhead doing some work. Scizor in general really proving to be clutch right there. Maybe going for the feint and double edge onto the Salamence was a misplay, as that gave our opponent a slight chance to come back with this game. I mean, we did get lucky with that low kick critical hit on the Salamence, or else Bullet Punch definitely wouldn't have been able to KO him. But yeah, just going for the feint for safety, and Thunderbolt should deal a nice chunk of damage to that Kyogre. Yeah, that is pretty nice, even if he double KOs me right now, which is probably what is going to happen with like Origin Pulse and Gyro Ball. Yeah, as Scizor goes down, Thundurus hangs in there with the Focus Sash, but Ferrothorn should be able to take that out with Leech Seed, and that is fine. But yes, we do have Groudon in the back, and as far as I'm aware, there is no chance that Ferrothorn has any move to, I don't know, restore the weather or anything like that. So yeah, that is basically sometimes in those like Groudon versus Kyogre matchups what you have to go for. Try to make sure that you have the Pokemon advantage, so that in the end when they are down to 2 mons, you will have your Groudon out. And even though I'm at, yeah, Pokemon wise I'm like down 1 to 2, but yeah, since we got our weather up, that is just the end of this game. If I was to play the same matchup again, I probably would lead with Thundurus and maybe bring Kangaskhan in the back, because yeah, those Intimidates really made it so that it was very difficult for me to get off the damage I wanted to, and having Thundurus in the back, not the cleverest choice, as yeah, with a Focus Sash, you don't want to like switch it in, because that would break the Sash if they attack you and so on. And I didn't want to switch in Groudon either because of his Kyogre that was waiting in the back. So yeah, maybe leading off with Thundurus would have been better here. But it still worked out for us, beating this 1804 rated player from Japan in a pretty nice fashion. And once again, I think we reached the point where, maybe not, maybe a win will actually not put us over the 1800s, but let's see. So I really like that this team, in case you like didn't notice yet, it only has one move across the whole team that can miss, and that is Snarl on Yveltal. Next opponent, my Yo-Yo from Japan with a rating of 1715. So yeah, what I was trying to say, only Yveltal can miss and all the other moves are 100% accurate, so that is pretty nice. I mean, that is also one of the reasons why Kangaskhan was my most favorite Mega in 2015, because unlike, yeah, like Charizard, there were some movesets like Hidden Power, Ground, Solar Beam, or Flamethrower that couldn't miss, but Heat Wave was your most reliable source of damage output that could miss. Salamence also has like Double Edge and Hyper Voice that cannot miss, but Draco could miss. And I don't know, overall I felt like Kangaskhan was the safest one. Guardy, though, can also not miss. But anyway, so my opponent, rocking a pretty standardish team around Groudon Xerneas, also has that Crobat, has the Amoonguss, but no Trick Room mode or anything. So I would be surprised if my opponent brought the Amoonguss here. And this time around I do think that we will lead off with our Thundurus to threaten the Crobat and the Salamence a little bit. But we need to make sure that we have something against his Groudon. That is really troublesome. I think Groudon is like a problem for this team, or it can be problematic. Yeah, we will actually just lead off with our own Groudon to make it so that at least, like worst case, we can have that 50-50 speed type chance. But I really think it's very difficult. I mean, Scizor obviously not helping with Groudon either. And yeah, Thundurus has only HP Ice to touch it, so that's not going to do much. Talonflame, I mean, it can Brave Bird, but since a lot of Groudon opt to go with Rock type attacks these days to make sure that they have something against, like Ho-Oh, for example, yeah, that is definitely also always like pretty risky to rely on Talonflame to take out that Groudon. But looks like no Groudon lead coming out from my opponent. Leads off with Crobat and Kangaskhan. And since we kinda ruled out Amoonguss in preview already, and since Salamence together with Kangaskhan is probably pretty unlikely, I would expect Xerneas and Groudon to be in the back of my opponent here. So that also gives us a little bit of an advantage information-wise, because my opponent has no clue that we did not bring the Yveltal, so he will probably expect us to have Kangaskhan and Yveltal in the back, but we do have the Talonflame to potentially match his Tailwind. So the most straightforward play my opponent could make here is just go for like Fake Out plus Tailwind. And I do think I want to Thunder Wave his Kangaskhan to make sure that we will have the speed advantage going into the next turn, unless he goes for the Fake Out on me, and then I will also just go for the Eruption. Now there is a chance that my opponent goes for the Super Fang actually, because going for the Tailwind is probably like not helping him too much, because he has to consider Thunder Wave being a thing. So yeah, he could go for the Super Fang to heavily reduce my damage output with Eruption, but even if he goes for that, I think we should still be like fine. And yeah, do a lot of chip damage to both his mons. And he will go for the Super Fang. So yeah, good play on my opponent, and I think that was probably the play to make. I could have gone for the Flamethrower, but that also wouldn't have been enough to knock out his Kangaskhan, for example, so I'm fine just going for the Eruption right there. Yeah, as you can see, even at 50%, that still does a whole lot of damage to both Kangaskhan and Crobat. Though in retrospect, I think Flamethrower probably was the better choice after all, because my opponent does not know that we are max speed Thundurus. I mean, maybe now he knows, but something we could have done is Thunderbolt to KO his Kangaskhan. So, right now there is a chance that my opponent will just go for a quick guard to protect his Kangaskhan from a potential Thunder Wave. And I think we will just take this opportunity to knock out the Crobat, but now he goes for the Tailwind. Okay, so now Thunder Wave probably would have been the play to make. So let's hope our opponent targeted down our Thundurus. That would really be optimal right here, I think. Yeah, let's see what he did. So he returned Thundurus. Okay, so we will be able to get the double knockout this turn with Flamethrower. But it also means that our Thundurus is gone and we won't have the option to go for Thunder Waves to slow my opponent down. But we do have Talonflame in the back, so we can at least match Tailwind. However, he will probably bring in his Xerneas right now, so that would mean that he will go for the Geomancy if we go out into Talonflame right now. However, I don't really think that I have another choice but going into Talonflame and matching the Tailwind, since we don't have Protect on Talonflame. But yeah, this is like really a threatening situation, and sometimes it's just worth losing both your mons if you manage to successfully set up Tailwind while your opponent does not have the speed control. Also, that's like a pretty common theme in Rayquaza Kyogre teams, where you would just lead, I don't know, like Weavile and Crobat or Gengar and something and go for like Icy Winds or Tailwind, and then you have your two restricted mons in the back, bring them out at the same time and then just sweep through your opponent's team because they cannot do anything. So if we had Yveltal in the back, I don't think there would have been anything we could have done. But since we do have Talonflame, we can actually match the Tailwind right here and go for a Protect on ground to at least make it a speed tie next turn, I think. I'm not sure if Flare Blitz plus Brave Bird would knock out the Xerneas without the Life Orb. Since we don't have the Life Orb but Sharp Beak, I'm sure I mentioned that earlier. Yeah, I think we will just go for the Tailwind. Because there's also the option that my opponent does have a Rock move on ground, so if we went for the Flare Blitz right now, he would just knock us out, and then next turn protect himself from like the Fake Out, and then he could just KO us with his Xerneas alone. So he actually goes for the Dazzling Gleam. Interesting choice, so he did not go for the Geomancy. Pretty interesting play here, and also goes for the Eruption. However, Talonflame, not exactly known for its bulk, but we actually managed to hang in there with just 2 HP, so that is really great. That is really great. So our opponent did not go for that Geomancy play that I was really anticipating, or like not anticipating, but expecting. So this is kind of tough. Okay, so we do have the advantage in like speed for like one turn, but he can just protect that turn. So I don't think Moonblast should knock us out here. I mean, it definitely shouldn't. So I will just go for the Flare Blitz on his Xerneas and also Earth Power his Groudon. Now that is a play with the dice, but I don't think we have any other option than to go for the speed tie right here. Maybe he protects or anything, but let's see how much Flare Blitz is going to do to that Xerneas. And yeah, Flare Blitz plus Brave Bird would have been enough, so my opponent made the play. So he probably thought that we would attack him, and he didn't want to go for that attack right there. Oh yeah, he wanted to attack, let's see, with the speed tie. He wins, but he goes for the flamethrower instead of the earth power. Can we survive? Probably not. No, we can't. That was probably the game deciding turn. So yeah, if he went for the Geomancy and we went for the Flare Blitz, we would have been able to revenge kill him with Brave Bird the following turn, so that was probably why he attacked instead of going for the Geomancy. But yeah, that speed tie just seals up the deal right there. I mean, I don't know, that's what it came down to. I'm not sure if there was anything I could have done differently. I could have gone for the Flamethrower turn 1 on his Kangaskhan, that probably would have been the play, as I didn't want to risk like going for Thunder Waves while his Crobat was out because of the obvious threat of Quick Guard, but maybe he didn't even have Quick Guard, I don't know, there's just like so many different, so much different stuff to consider there. So now, if you're my opponent, what do? You probably protect. Yeah, he probably, I don't know, I'll just make a play here and go for the Fake Out on the ground in case he protects Xerneas, because then we could KO Xerneas the following turn and crit KO ground the turn after. So yeah, basically I'm banking or like hoping that my opponent makes a mistake and that we get lucky. But yeah, there's not really any need for him to go for any risks here. And yeah, so well played to my opponent, as he's actually able to beat us here in the second game. Goes for the Geomancy because why not? As you can just, yes, like stall out Tailwind after this turn and no problem. So we get to see this beautiful animation as well. And once again, going 1-1 in this episode. So yeah, maybe just flamethrowing the Kangaskhan would have been the play to make. I do think that we were in a pretty solid lead position after all with Groudon and Thundurus, but my opponent got the Tailwind off, and after that, I don't know, we weren't able to deal with his Groudon, and that was basically like the main issue of this game. So good game to my opponent, and this will be it for today's episode. Once again, I did finish my last exam, so I am looking to, I don't know, produce some more content the upcoming days and weeks and so on. I might look a little bit more into streaming, so let me know in the comments if you are like, I don't know, if you like or if you enjoy watching some streams on Twitch. And I will leave my Twitch in the description as well, so yeah, you can like follow me and if you're on Twitch anyway and check out when I go live. But I will need to figure out some more settings, as last time I streamed, I don't know, like, I wasn't satisfied with the quality. But apart from this, I will also, yeah, I don't know, I won't spoil anything, I will just upload that. So, VGC with Wolfie, by the way, is going to go up soonish after this at some point over the day, so keep an eye on that. And yep, that'll be it. See you soon, and comment of the day, you're gonna give Pato Nightmares, yep, but that was even without using Smeargle, so I managed to do that, so that was pretty nice. Anyway. Yeah, see you soon guys, and have a good day, have a nice weekend, and bye.